Welcome to The Explainer. All right, let's dive right in. In the next few minutes, we're going to take a really close look at the most fundamental thing there is, reality itself. Get ready, because we're about to deconstruct everything you think you know about the world around you.
So let's kick things off with a big question. What if that solid, objective world you think is out there isn't really out there at all? What if your entire reality is more like a private movie, one that's being produced and directed entirely by your own brain?
Okay, that's a huge idea, right? So how do we even begin to unpack that? Well, let's start with something incredibly simple, something we all think we know for sure. Let's just talk about the color of grass.
We have this old saying, seeing is believing, and we pretty much live by that rule, don't we? I mean, it's the ultimate test for truth. If you can see it with your own two eyes, it must be real. But what if our eyes aren't showing us the full picture? Or what if they're not even showing us the same picture as someone else?
Okay, so check this out. For you, grass is green, a nice, vibrant green. That's because our eyes have 3 different kinds of color receptors that work together to create that image. But your dog? To them, that exact same lawn probably looks more like a yellowish brown. Why? It's simple, really. Their eyes only have 2 types of these receptors. So it's the same patch of grass, but 2 completely different experiences of its color.
And this brings us to the most important question of all. If you see green and your dog sees yellowish-brown, who's right? What color is the grass, really?
And the answer is, honestly, it's kind of mind-blowing. The grass doesn't have a color. Not at all. Color isn't some property that exists out there in the world. It's an experience created entirely inside your head after your brain gets around to interpreting electrical signals from your eyes. The grass itself is just stuff, reflecting light waves. That's it. You know, this whole thing, it's not just about color, not even close. This same idea applies to literally everything you perceive. Your brain isn't out there experiencing the world directly. It's locked in the dark, living in a reality that's constructed purely from these electrical signals. So instead of thinking of your senses as these perfect, clear windows to the world, think of them more like specialized data collectors. A bee, for instance, doesn't see a pretty flower like you do. Nope, it sees this amazing ultraviolet landing strip guiding it straight to the nectar. A goldfish might see its world in infrared, perceiving you as just a big warm shape. And the very ground you're standing on, the reason it feels solid is just because of the electrical repulsion between atoms. In truth, it's almost entirely empty space.
So, what does that make reality? I mean, what is it really? It's not this one single thing that we all share and see. It's a completely private, subjective movie that your brain cooks up just for you and only for you. We're all basically living in our own private universes.
Okay, so if we're all living in our own private little universes, what happens when we try to talk to each other? Well, that's where we hit a massive, massive wall. We run into what you could call an impossible translation problem.
Just look at this path here. It's basically an obstacle course for communication. An idea starts in your private reality. Then you have to squish that big, complex idea into these tiny, limited things we call words. Those words then travel over to someone else, get picked up by their senses, interpreted by their unique brain, and then finally get rebuilt inside their completely separate private reality. I mean, something is bound to get lost along the way. A perfect one-to-one transfer is almost impossible.
And that right there is why this quote is so spot on. The whole idea of trying to unify thought, it's just absurd. How can we ever hope to unify thought when we can barely get an idea from our own head into someone else's without it getting twisted?
And look, this isn't just some abstract philosophical debate. This communication gap, it has huge real-world consequences. It's the root of so many of our arguments, our misunderstandings, and yeah, on a bigger scale, our wars. We're often fighting over different interpretations of our own separate realities. But just when you think you've got a handle on this, a new player enters the game, artificial intelligence. And wow, is it a double-edged sword. It could be the ultimate bridge that finally connects us, or it could be the ultimate tool for deception. So here's the crazy paradox of AI. On the one hand, you have this incredible promise. Maybe it's the universal translator we've always dreamed of, something that can finally bridge that communication gap. But then there's the other side, the peril. That same power can be used to forge reality itself, creating fakes so perfect they're impossible to tell from the real thing.
So what does this all mean? It means that old phrase, seeing is believing. It's done. It's over. It's officially obsolete. In a world where anything can be faked perfectly, you just can't trust your own senses as the final judge of what's true anymore.
Okay, so if we can't trust what we see anymore, where does that leave us? How are we supposed to navigate this new world? Well, we're going to need a new toolkit, a new way of thinking.
All right, so here's what's in that toolkit. Rule number 1, and this is the big one. Seeing is believing is dead. You have to let that go. Your new go-to method? Scientific, critical thinking applied to everything. Second, as a society, we have to rebuild on a foundation of integrity, a shared commitment to being truthful. And finally, a really crucial warning. Any power that operates in the dark, without supervision, cannot be trusted. Period. And all of this, it leaves us with one final and really important question. In a world where the line between what's real and what's fake is completely dissolving, what are you going to anchor your trust to? It's not something you can just see anymore. It's something you're going to have to consciously choose and build for yourself.